at the age of 63 years. Look at Arun. He wants to talk with other Muslims. He doesn't want to talk to me. Hey, Arun, why don't you talk to me, man? Okay. Hey, Arun, come here. Excuse me, Arun. Prove to me Jesus was God. Come on. Prove to me Jesus was God.
Come on, Arun! Arun, come on! Uncle's waiting!
Arun, hey, Arun.
Go.
Arun,
Calm down. Now, my dear Muslim friend, please. So, in the UK, we have serious problems.
So,
We have serious
let the other Muslims speak, man. Let's try to find some of the Christians.
almost on a weekly basis.
Okay, you
UK is suffering. One of the top budget spends on national security. Girls killed. Not long ago, there have been multiple attacks. Almost every single week. Now let me ask you a simple question. So you're Muslims. So let me ask you a simple question. If you were to meet one of the terrorists, what verse in the Quran would you show to them to tell them that they are not being Muslims? Please come, explain. If you were to meet one of these terrorists, I'm sure you would claim they are not Muslims. Yeah?
I will knock him out.
Arun, ask uncle, he's ready.
What teaching of the Quran would you show to them and say, look, my dear friends, you're terrorists, but you're not good Muslims. Follow the teachings of the Islamic Allah. Which one would you show?
To me, man.
Come again.
Being a terrorist is not a Muslim.
Good. Please come here. So that's a good start. So you are saying being a terrorist is not being a Muslim. Please explain that through the Quran. Please come here.
I'm not fully.
You don't have to be fully educated. A little bit education is good. Now,
Arun.
show me something in the Quran.
Uncle
which will
can
help
answer
us
that.
help
Uncle
us
can
all
answer that.
understand that
Uncle
being
can.
a terrorist is not being a Muslim. Please show me which verse can I read? This is the Quran. Now you tell me. I will show you multiple things. A very good question. I can show you multiple things which I can use to explain why being a terrorist is being a good Muslim. Terrorism is fundamental to Islam. I can explain that through the Quran. I'm not. I'm a Christian. I am a Christian. Come again? I have to become a Muslim. Close enough. But before that, you need to give me some explanation. What verse in the Quran or what teachings from the Quran would you give to convince the terrorist that he needs to give up on Islamic terrorism? Which verse? Which teaching would you give? Please come here. We need sensible Muslims to stand up and explain to us. Ali Dawah is a top-class terrorist. We need to catch him. He has been terrorizing Jews in synagogues, visiting them, threatening them with violence. He has to be put in the prison. The only reason he hasn't been put in the prison so far is the police are a little bit clueless. That's the only reason. Ali Dawah isn't your savior. You, sir, might save Islam. There is a little chance. You can't either, yeah? You can. So, you, sir, can you save Islam? What teaching from the Quran would you bring to a terrorist and explain to the gentleman or whoever, terrorist, and say, look, you're being a good man of food, please don't. So, any Muslim, are you a Muslim, sir? Are you a Muslim, sir?
Yes.
Please come in.
No, I'm not here to talk. I'm just here to record. You talk. I'll do the recording. Okay. I'll get Uncle for you. Uncle's ready, mate. Why don't you chat with him? Uncle's ready. He wants to talk to you. Uncle. Yeah. No. He's waiting for you. He wants to talk to you, mate.
As time progresses, medicines, give it to him. Injections, and he might be okay. Now,
Injection.
in the meantime, please come and explain. Please, sir, you need to help us. You're the only brave person. You're the only brave person, as you can see, in this entire group. Yes. So, So the challenge is, my dear friends, are you Muslim, sir? No, okay. The challenge for the Muslim world.
Nobody wants to be Muslim at the moment.
What is the Quran would you show to sacred Islamic terrorism?
Why don't you speak with me, man?
Islam is contrary to terrorism.
Christian.
Give us that one, good Usman.
The same folder. The same folder, man.
Yeah, go on, please. In other words, he hasn't got a clue. He simply hasn't got a clue. He'll play the victim. He'll play the fool. Try everything under the sun to say God Islam for another week. You are the only brave man so far. And I genuinely think, out of all the Muslims in the world, in the UK, you might be a sensible man who might give a hearing and become a Christian. Most of these fellows deliberately deluded. Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
What teaching in the Quran would you show to explain that a Muslim should give up on terrorism? Which teaching would you use, sir? Any help? Any help? Answer. Which teaching? Hello, sir. You Muslim, sir. Which teaching? Are you Muslim, sir? No, sir. No, sir. Are you Muslim, sir? You, sir. Don't shout at me, please. Thank you.
Allah said,
All right, my dear Muslim friends. Whereas the Muslims cannot give a teaching against terrorism from the Quran, I can give plenty of material as to why a Muslim necessarily has to be a terrorist based on the Quran. If anyone were to read the Quran, you would become a terrorist. That's the natural outcome. Now, this is a Muslim gentleman who, instead of trying to help,
I'm just
he's
recording.
so focused on his
I'm just
camera recording
that's it.
that he doesn't even care that his Islamic ally is in serious trouble right now.
He can do it.
He is hiding. We need to take a proper look at him. Anywhere where you see his eyes, be careful.
Someone wants to speak to you and you're ignoring him. Why?
I don't speak Arabic. How about this? Are you Muslim?
He's avoiding. He's looking for people who don't know much.
Try and help us understand.
Give us that one.
Try and solve the UK's terrorism issues.
He's picked a perfect day, rainy day. That's it. When no one's here.
We need to make a good start at some stage. Sooner rather than
Start
later.
with Uncle.
Go on. Give us that one.
What is the Islamic teaching that you would use from the Quran to tell the terrorists, stop this nonsense?
More than 3,000
We have-
500
Please keep moving, please keep
have
moving.
closed in the United
You see, I'm talking about terrorism, he is talking about gatekeeping. You know why? He has a contract to clean churches, goes around cleaning churches. And he is thinking he is losing business. So his concern is only money. My dear young man, my dear young friend, please, you can really help us. Why can't you? Is there no such teaching in the Quran? What is that? Please come here. Please come here.
Debate with a Muslim.
Come again?
Why? He's trying to choose something.
Because I see the ideology leading people necessarily to that behavior. That is fine. When I say fine, that I understand. Because reading this faithfully will lead to that behavior. And that is where I really want to speak to Muslims such as you, who could possibly give a contrary case. Why should a terrorist leave terrorism when he reads the Quran? Please show me something from the Quran which is beautiful, which tells you, hey, terrorism is evil, don't do this. What teaching is there in the Quran?
I don't think we don't do terrorism.
Yeah, you may not. But what is there in the Quran?
You tell me one verse from there.
Come again?
Do you know one verse from there?
I know the entire Quran.
By heart.
Not by heart. Why should I know by heart?
Give me a verse.
About terrorism? About terrorism? Surah 532, for instance. It explains how Christians can be crucified, alternative sides, limbs cut off. Surah 9:29 explains how again Christians will be subjugated. In Surah 2, I can show you passages. Surah 8, spoils of war, Al-Anfal. I can show you chapter after chapter after chapter as to why any faithful Muslim who reads the Quran will necessarily become people such as Bin Laden, Al-Baghdadi, or any of these, depending on the chance that they can get. Now, of course, we have also the homemade little minions like the Southport murderers.
The Muslim or Christian or is there other ethnicity?